Hi, everybody. So, guess what today is? Today is our annual school themed YouTube hop. As you know, I host this hop every September. I get together tons of my funnest, most awesome YouTube pals. This year we have over 30 YouTubers playing along with us on this hop. I'm just showing you the products I'm going to be using for my layout today. I bought this little kit from Journals of Life. I'm not a big fan of school supplies, but this was a really cute kit. And so I decided to go ahead and grab it. And it's going to give me enough product to do a couple school layouts, which is awesome. Check out this washi. We're going to definitely be using the washi today. I'm trying to just get it off here. So I left the beginning of this video in real time so you could see the products I'll be using, but also so I could talk to you a little bit about our hop. So the hop theme for this particular year is stepping up. So you're going to see a lot of plays on that idea of stepping up, of starting, of getting into the swing of school or education. I'm showing you this notebook that came in the kit. I'm actually going to use this notebook. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here. I'm actually going to use this book for next year to document the books that I read. I have a Life Crafting album for this year. That's going to be my book journal for next year. And this kit is like the best ever, I have to tell you. I don't like school supplies or school scrapbook kits ever. It always has that really dark, like bright pops of red and really primary colors, which I'm not a huge fan of. But this particular kit is really cute. And I will leave a link down below if it's still available over at Andrea's shop. So I'm just showing you all the things, all the stuff that's in the kit. All the papers, all the fun things. I'm going to go through the paper. I'm going to choose a couple of papers to use on my layout. And then I also have the die cuts. So I'm choosing some papers. I'm not going to end up using all the ones that I choose, I don't think. I could have sped this up, I guess, but that's all right. Anyway, you will find on this hop school-themed projects. You'll also find non-school-themed projects that talk about people in our lives stepping up, whether that be from the pandemic or any kind. So you're going to find lots of school inspiration, lots of scrapbooking inspiration, but you're also going to find some other types of projects along the way too. Okay, so here is most of the products, most of the die cuts I'm going to use. Let's get going on our project. The first thing I want to use on my page is the washi tape. Washi tape is not a product I tend to pull out or use a lot. It actually, in my scrap room, it ends up being more of a functional tool than something that I use. So I really wanted to get some of this washi on my project because it's so cute and I love it. So I'm just going to put a strip across the top and a strip across the bottom. And that's going to give me a nice border for my page. Now this layout is going to have a ton of stamping. I'm going to stamp as my I'm actually going to stamp like what would be all of my journaling for this particular photo. I'm going to start by trimming my photo down. So my photo is at 4x4, but my son is really off to the left. This is his first day of school photo for 2019. We homeschool. I've homeschooled since my oldest son started 3rd grade, and he is now 21. So we have definitely been a homeschool family for a long time, for a lot of years. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of double map my photo. So I cut it down. I trimmed it down to maybe like it's close to 3x4, I think. And then I'm going to double mat it again. And that just makes it so that he's more in the middle of my photo. That was the point of cropping it down. I could have left it at 4x4, but I wanted him to be more centered in the photo. So I'm going to go ahead and find the direct middle of my page, and that's where I'm going to put my photo. There we go. My boys' school albums are, they're always small. There's never a ton of photos. Usually just 2 or 3 pages per grade. So I'm going to try to use this whole Journals of Life stamp or collection to do his 8th grade photos. So I'm going through my swatch book and I'm finding Catherine Pooler colors that are going to match this collection. And I end up going with Pink Champagne, Limoncello, Seafoam, and It's a Boy. And then I'm just going to draw some guidelines above and below my photo to help me, because I'm going to be stamping a ton of text right now. I have my ideas all in place for my title plus. I'm going to say title plus because it's more than just a title. It's also kind of like my title and the journaling and the year. So I am going to go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is use this Catherine Pooler stamp set. I use the stamp set all the time. I think it's called Simple Alphabet, and I love it. It's just my favorite. So I'm going to just start with the outline alphas, and then I'll fill it in with color later. So I'm going to put first day of 8th grade on this layout. That's going to kind of be my title. It's going to go across the top. And I'm going to use, after I've stamped out first with the Catherine Pooler outline stamps, I'm going to go back and grab the stamp set from the kit that I bought, Journals of Life stamp set. It has a whole set of numbers, has a couple of letters so that you can spell out like 8th, 9th, 2nd, 3rd, those types of elements. And then it has these like scripty words that say like day and grade and things like that. So I'm going to kind of mix and match the two stamp sets to create the first part, or the actual title, which will be first day of 8th grade. So while I go ahead and get this stamped out, I want to address a couple of stamping questions that come up a lot on my videos. And since this is a very stamp heavy kind of layout, I thought I'd go ahead and address a couple of the more of the ones that I get a lot of questions about. First of all, I definitely 100% use my Misty to stamp on, but not necessarily do I use the door. So I feel like there's kind of two elements to the Misty, and they work well together, but they also work very well separately. So the bottom part of the Misty has this lovely foam kind of mat that sits inside of it. This mat is amazing for stamping on. You always get a really nice, crisp, clear impression, and that doesn't matter whether you use the door or not. So for my Misty usage, I only use the door if I'm stamping with a very large, detailed stamp, or if I am working with an acrylic stamp and I'm worried that I won't be able to get a good impression with one stamping and I might have to stamp it twice. But if I'm working with photopolymer stamps and I'm working with specifically alphabet stamps, I tend to do my stamping this way on the Misty mat, but with an acrylic block, because I'm going to be changing out those stamps along a lot. And it can get a bit tedious, especially when you're using the 12x12 Misty to be constantly opening the door and changing the stamp and opening the door and changing the stamp. It gets a little bulky and hard to use. So my preferred method of stamping like large, big titles, so I like to use the mat and then an acrylic block. that's my preferred method when I'm going to be using some stamps, you know, alphabets and such. Okay, so I filled in all the colors in the Catherine Pooler stamp at the top. Now I'm going to use this alphabet stamp. This is new. This is from LA Studio. This is the Lizzie alphabet. This stamp set is fabulous. If it's still available in the shop, I will 100% definitely go ahead and link it up below. I love this stamp set. It's so good, you guys. It has all your alphabets. It has all the numbers. It has all the punctuation. And then it also has these super cute little icons sprinkled throughout. It's awesome. So you saw me kind of erase some of my guidelines using a mono eraser. This is because I'm using light ink and I don't want any of those guidelines to kind of show through, and I don't want to stamp on top of any of them because that will create a situation where I can't erase those pencil marks, and then they'll be on my layout permanently, which I don't want at all. So I'm now doing the bottom of my layout, which is more like the journaling, I guess. And I'm going to stamp out, "Your enthusiasm floors me." Have you seen my kid's face? He started this thing in 8th grade where he refuses now to smile for first day of school photos. Like, refuses. I have his 8th grade photos here, 9th grade, and then this year, which is 10th grade, and there is no smiles. He doesn't like school at all. He didn't like school when he was in school. He doesn't like school now that he's homeschooled. It's just not he just doesn't like it. Which, you know, that's fine. We all have to deal with things we don't like. But he refuses. He will pose for the photo, but he will not smile. So I have to come up with like cute stuff to say about the fact that my kid does not smile for first day of school photos. I did get a little one this year though. So I'm going to stamp out, "Your enthusiasm floors me." And then we'll get to work on our embellishments. So while I continue erasing the pencil marks and kind of deciding which die cuts I want to use for my layout, the second question I get asked about a lot is, why do I clean my stamps with baby wipes instead of a stamp chamois or a stamp thing? What's the difference and why do I do that? Okay, so here's why. There's a couple reasons. First of all, I've used stamp chamois before. I've used microfiber cloths. And no matter what I do, even with like buying a salt cellar thing or whatever, the reusable rags, the stamp chamois or what have you, always end up smelling bad, like smelling awful. And no matter what I do, can't stand the smell. I don't know if it's just that my house is specifically damp. I mean, my house is 101 years old. I don't know why, but I've tried and done all the tips and tricks. So do those work? Yes. The other reason that I use baby wipes is because no matter how hard I try, end up with inky fingers. So having baby wipes handy, I probably, like some of the time I'm washing my stamps with baby wipes, usually on camera, but a lot of the times I'm washing my fingers off because no matter how hard I try, I am a messy stamper. I just am. So if I want to keep my layout clean, I have to be able to wipe my hands off quite often while I'm stamping. So I use Huggies baby wipes. I don't use any other brand. The reason I use Huggies is because they do not leave lint. They wipe my stamps right off. They're clean. They don't use lint. So that's why I use a baby wipe instead of specifically that's why I use Huggy baby wipes instead of using any other kind of a stamp cleaning product. It's just my personal preference. I have tried, different stamp cleaners. I tried a lot of things at the beginning, and I always just come back to my Huggies baby wipes because I don't have to spray. I know they sell stamp cleaners that's like a spray. I don't have to spray anything. Because if I were to spray, if I had a spray that I used, I would end up spraying my layout. It would just happen. So for me, Huggies baby wipes are the way to go. So that was the second thing. I always get asked about that. And I'm like, that's why I use Huggy baby wipes. And that's why I use my Misty without using the door. So I'm going to go ahead now and stamp my numbers. I laid out the die cuts exactly where I wanted them to go. And now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to stamp the year using all the different colors of ink. And now I'm just going to go ahead and adhere all these clusters together. I am going to pop up a couple things using some tabby dots from Spiegel Mom Scraps to give a couple of the die cuts some lift and some dimension so that my layout is not really, really flat. I had to include this adorable little chalkboard that says "Too Cool for School" because that face. It had to happen. So I'm going to pop that up. I also loved the die cut that had the computer because it worked perfectly for my photo with the stack of books. So during 8th grade, Logan had books, like physical books, but he's homeschooled, so he also had a lot of online learning that he did as well. So it was like more of a blended program. Last year and this year, he was fully cyber schooled, where none of his resources were physical books. It's all online. So that was something that was a little bit, that I felt that was a little different this year. So I took pictures of them on their books. So I'm just tucking stuff under the corners of my photos and getting all of these types of things ready to go. And then for some sprinkles, I'm going to take that Lizzie alphabet stamp from Ellie's Studio. Remember I said it had all these cute little icons. So I grabbed some stars. I grabbed some cute little diamond shapes, alternated my colors, and I'm just scattering some of these adorable little icons throughout the layout. I'm stamping them in a bunch of different colors depending on what I think we need. And I'm going to stamp some in black because there is a lot of, the washi tape has a black background. We have that chalkboard. A lot of my titling is in black. So I wanted to make sure I had brought in enough black that it doesn't look out of place and it all works together. And then I also used these icons and these small stamps to kind of fill in areas of the layout that I felt were unbalanced or where I felt like there was some trapped white space. And again, just to make the design cohesive and to work through the entire layout. And that's where we are going to call this one done. Be sure to take some time during this weekend to hop along, check out all of the amazing projects, say hello to all of my lovely YouTube friends, and enjoy this hop that I've put together for you. Have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll see you again soon.